Welcome, everybody, and thank you for listening to the Better Bushcraft Podcast, the place where you'll learn the skills to succeed on your next outdoor adventure. My name is Tommy Clark, your host, and this is episode 11, all sorts of stuff. But before we get into today's topic, here's what's been going on since the last time I put a podcast up. First of all, I can't believe it's been over a month since the last podcast. Things have been really crazy here. And I apologize for the lack of podcasts. I didn't do any in February, which is not good. But anyways, I'm back on track now, guys. So hopefully you guys are still around. And when you listen to this podcast, you just know that I am still here, still doing the bushcraft things. And we're going to be doing a lot here in the spring. So the first thing that happened is I got a different job. I got a new job now. So yeah, that's been kind of awesome, but took a lot of time to transition into my new career. So I've been putting a lot of time into that and learning the things that I need to. So that was one of the things that happened in February, but I'm really excited about it. So anyways, I'm here now, and the next thing that I did was my taxes. You know, it's that time of year. Not very fun to do, but I've been putting them off for a long time. I finally got them done last week. So I did those, and some of the bushcraft things that's happened here. I got the new bushcraft campsite that I put in a couple videos and talked about in several of my podcasts. It is finished now, so that's ready to go. And a little bit about that, we finally just made the final improvements to it. We got our bigger fire pit and more camp chairs, and we finished the actual sleeping quarters of the area. What we did is we made like a little hut, modified A-frame. I'm not even quite sure what design it is. It's kind of like a spider shelter too, but we used CRP grass for the top for the thatching, and blocked it in really well. And as crazy windy as it is here in Kansas, we've been out there several times with high winds, and you can't really feel it at all in the sleeping quarters section. So really excited about that. It's not quite 100% waterproof yet, so I guess we still need to work on that aspect of it, but the rest of the shelter, it's already been cleared out. We have an awesome fishing area. We tested out the fishing a few weeks ago. It was still cold here, but since it's surrounded by a pond on three sides, we decided to go fishing, and we did catch a couple catfish. I caught a 5.5 pound catfish and a couple of crappie as well. And my buddy, he caught a largemouth bass. And the funny thing about that is that we were digging up worms for the rest of the fish, and we couldn't find any more, so he just took a bagworm off a cedar tree. And I was like, man, I've been fishing for a long time, and that's not going to work. But he decided to throw it out there anyways, and right before we left camp, he checked his line, and sure enough, he caught a largemouth bass on a bagworm. So they must have been really hungry or something. But anyway, so it is possible. So if you guys ever need some bait and you have nothing and you can find a bagworm, try it out, because apparently it works. But anyway, so that bushcraft camp is finished. We're going to do an overnighter here in next couple weeks, hopefully, or maybe sooner. I'm hoping maybe this weekend. Man, I don't know how the weather is around where you live, but here in Kansas right now, it's getting up to 80 today, and it's March 13th as recording this, and all week supposed to be low 80s or high 70s, so perfect weather for bushcrafting. I think the lows are in the 50s, so I'm getting really antsy to go out there every day if possible, and just get some stuff done and do some bushcrafting. But so anyways, that bushcraft camp is finished, and I am going to be shooting some videos over it, not only showing you the camp as it is finished, but also some skills and stuff out there as well. That might be one of my main areas to shoot film, or video I should say, out there. But okay, so moving on, another thing I've been doing over the last month is obviously been bushcrafting, of course. Like I said, we've been out practically every weekend for at least 5 hours or so. Just working on different skills, fire building, fishing, getting the campsite ready. We did put out a ammo dump can out there. I think I covered that in a podcast already, but if I haven't, I shot a video, I know for sure, or maybe it was an article, I can't remember. But anyway, so we put out an ammo dump can that we leave there in the permanent area, and we got all of our seasonings and stuff out there, and we've been using it, and it's been working really well. I was almost 100% it was going to be waterproof, but I just wanted to make sure. So it's rained several times since then. Everything is still dry and exactly the way we left it. So pretty excited about that. So anyways, I have been bushcrafting, and I haven't shot any video over it, but now is the time for me to do that. So other things I've been doing, I've been working on new ideas for the show and the website. I like the way it's going, but, it's always nice to introduce new things to the show. So I'm going to try to change up some of the stuff from formatting to things that I cover, as well as a website, a lot more videos and articles, of course, but other things on there to get more people interactive and involved, such as a forum and stuff like that. So if you have any ideas for that, please send them my way. Okay, so there was going to be a contest in February, and I dropped the ball on that one. But for anyone who has signed up for the newsletter, okay, this is really important. By March 20th, so a week from today, if I get this podcast out, but a week from today. So anybody that signed up for the newsletter on my website by March 20th will be able to be in a contest giveaway. And since last month I dropped the ball, like I said, the prize is going to be pretty sweet. I'm going to send out something that I have, something that I really like and treasure, but you know what? I'm going to just put it in the contest and give it away for free. So trust me, you don't want to miss out on this contest. So what you need to do is sign up by the 20th of this month, and then check your email on the 20th, because once I get you in the system, I will send out an email to everybody that signed up, and I'm going to be showing you what the contest is. And the contest is going to be really easy, so everybody will be able to do it. It's not going to be anything too intricate this first time, but you must participate to win. So that's all I'm going to say, but don't forget to sign up before the 20th. Then I'm going to send out an email showing you what the contest is, and then you guys send me another email with your answer or whatever it's going to be, and then I'll pick someone out of that and be sending you a pretty cool piece of gear. That's all I'm going to say. But anyways, so let's jump into today's topic. And I really don't have like a one set topic for today, since I just wanted to put up a podcast letting you guys know that I'm still here. But one of the first things I did want to cover is some gear reviews, because I've had a few pieces of gear for some time now, since like fall and the end of last year, and I've really been out there testing them. And here's what I think so far after putting them through the ringer. All these pieces of gear I've used multiple times, because I wanted to make sure that they lasted, didn't break, and they kept up with what I needed them to do. So the first thing that I'm going to cover is my Gerber Gator axe that I got for my birthday, which it was in January, and I've used it many times since then. First review I thought about it was a great axe and saw combo. I thought it'd work really great, and after using it, it's really held up. I'm really impressed with it. I have not sharpened it yet, and I've used it to basically build my entire bushcrafting campsite. We used it for everything, for cutting the sticks and stuff, and tree limbs for the shelter part. We used it to clear out the brush, all sorts of stuff. And the thing is still razor sharp, and I'm really excited to tell you that it works really great. The saw part, it works. It really does cut through. It's got really great teeth on it, so it cuts through really well. I don't use it, though, as much as I thought I would, just because it's so much easier just to use the axe, I could see some areas where I would use a saw, but I haven't used it too much. but it works good too. And it fits on the side of my pack really nicely, and it's held up. I haven't had any issues with the saw coming out when it's on the backpack or anything like that. Now, I don't keep it in the handle as I'm using it just because it kind of rattles around, and I don't like things that are kind of flimsy like that. But just carrying around, I'm not worried about it falling out at all. So the Gerber Gator Axe is a great piece of kit, and I highly recommend it. And if you guys are looking for one, you can get it on my website. Just go to betterbushcraft.com and go to my store, and you can find it there on my Amazon-powered store, and it's a really great price. So be sure to check that out. Okay, so the second thing that I've been using is my dry bags. Now, I've only used one size, but I figure they're all going to be the same. And I use it for just putting my keys, wallet, cell phone in my bag so everything stays dry. And like I said, initially I did do a water test, and now I just had it in my bag, and it's doing great. It's doing fine. They're cheap from Walmart, and they work really well. Not a whole lot to say about dry bags because, I mean, it's a bag, but it works really great, so I just wanted to bring it up real quick here as well. Now, the next piece of kit that I wanted to cover is my Fatwood Fire Steel combo that I made using a Fire Steel blank from firesteel.com, and also I got some Fatwood from there, and I made a handle and put it together. I've been using it for all my fires. That's the only thing I used for my fires in the last few months or so, and it's working really great. The Fire Steel puts off great sparks. The Fatwood is holding up, and it looks awesome. So if you guys are looking for a project to do, I definitely recommend you try to do something like that. And if you need some ideas on how to make it, just send me an email, and I might be putting up a video on how to make your own Fatwood Fire Steel handle combo thing, because really great idea. I didn't come up with it. I found somebody on YouTube, but it's a great idea because you can obviously use the handle and you can shave off some Fatwood if you needed some emergency fire tinder. So it's really cool. That's all I got to say about that, but it's a pretty cool project to do, and it'll work really great. So the last piece of gear that I'm going to cover right now is my favorite, my Blind Horse Knives Bushcrafter. I got that for myself for my birthday, and I have used it a ton. I mean, a lot. And it is amazing. It's the best knife by far that I've ever owned or used. And my buddy liked it so much that he went out and bought one after the first time he got to use it, just because it's that awesome. So he has the exact same knife with a different color handle, but we both use ours exclusively now, from everything from carving to processing wood. I mean, everything. This thing is awesome. The blade is still very sharp. I haven't had to sharpen it yet. The back of the fire handle, or the back of the spine rather, is probably my favorite part, which is interesting because, when I use my other knives on my Fire Steel, it'd scrape off some sparks, but, not a whole lot. This thing has such a nice angle on the back of the spine that it just throws sparks. I mean, it's almost ridiculous how easy it is to light a fire using the knife, the back of the knife as the striker. So really pleased with it. The sheath I have oiled a couple times using just lard, which I learned from Dave Canterbury in one of his videos. The sheath looks beautiful. It works great. I didn't really think I was going to like the dangler portion of it, because this knife comes with the option of just carrying it on your hip, of course, like the belt loop. It also has like a dangle on it that gives you a few more inches, and the knife kind of dangles, as you walk. And I thought, I'm not going to like that at all, but just the way that it's made, it doesn't move a whole lot that you would think would just drive you nuts, but it moves enough so when you're squatting down, you're working on the ground on your knees or whatever, it moves out of the way. I don't know, it's amazing. So anyways, totally give props to Blind Horse Knives making a fantastic knife. And my buddy loves his just as much as I love mine, so If you're ever looking for a really good quality bushcrafting knife that you know you're going to have for 20 plus years, or forever basically, definitely invest in a Blind Horse Knives. And if you're looking for a bushcrafting in particular, it's the Bushcrafter. Easy enough. Find it on the website, blindhorseknives.com. Great group of guys. I don't want to go on a whole lot about this knife other than to say that it's doing everything that I've ever wanted from a knife. And I have some other great knives. I mean, I have the Moore. It's a great knife. I have the Becker BK2. Awesome knife. But I'm just saying, if you want a fantastic knife, the Blind Horse Knives Bushcrafter. So, okay, anyway, switching from gear reviews now into more of just spring bushcrafting type stuff, just because this weather is giving me the itch just to go outside all the time. It's beautiful right now. I actually have the windows open right now where I'm recording this in my studio at home, and the breeze is blowing in. I can hear the birds, beautiful blue skies. It's just making me want to go outside. So, you know, for some of you still got some cold days out there, but like I said, here it's been hitting mid-70s every few days. The grass is starting to turn green. Trees are starting to bloom. You know, lots of storms, wet weather. So, you know, it's springtime. It's basically springtime here in a week or so, but it feels like spring, so I'm calling it spring by now. So, but there are a few things with spring that there's going to be new issues to overcome while bushcrafting. You know, in the cold winter months, obviously you got snow, frigid temperatures, stuff like that. But, you know, in the spring, you mainly got wet weather, which means damp tinder and stuff like that. So one of the main things here in Kansas especially that we have to watch out for is storms. Tornadoes are a huge thing here in Kansas, obviously. Everybody thinks of, you know, Wizard of Oz or whatever, but it's a pretty big issue here in Kansas, tornadoes. You know, funny thing, right before I recorded this podcast, I was about to hit record, and the sirens went off. I was like, okay. So I listened, and it was a tornado warning, you know, all that good stuff. And I was like, you know, the skies are blue, not a cloud in the sky, beautiful weather, no wind. I was like, you guys must be crazy. But then I looked it up, realized that they're doing a test, you know, just to check out the systems or whatever. But it got me thinking of, you know, storms can come up pretty quickly. So it still got my attention. And that's one of the things you got to watch out for is when you go out bushcrafting, you know, you need to pick a time. You can't ever predict the weather, but you always got to be on the watch for, you know, tornadoes and know the signs in the clouds and stuff. When they start turning green and start spinning, it's like, okay, we're out of here. Or we're going to take shelter. So that's one of the things you got to pay attention to, as well as just standard thunderstorms. You know, lots of rain, lightning can strike anywhere. And I mean, I'm sure you all know, but you know, don't go huddle underneath the tree if it's starting to be a lightning storm and raining and stuff like that. You know, you got hail, another big thing. So maybe it's something as simple as just, you know, checking the weather beforehand. And if you are going to stay in like a shelter, make sure that it's going to stand up to rain and possibly hail. You know, you got to make the little bit of better effort. Now, obviously, your shelter's not going to stand up to a tornado. If it does, send me a video of this shelter you're building because I want to build it. But anyways, and with the thunderstorms and stuff can be flash floods. That's one of the things that we're still a little leery about on our Bushcraft campsite. You know, it's about perfect, you know, protected by the wind. It's got a lot of stuff for us, you know, a lot of fish and wild edibles around and stuff like that. But we're not quite sure about if that pond floods, how high the water level is going to get to our campsite. My buddy and his dad that owned the land, they did dig out, you know, a drainage ditch that goes to a secondary pond. But who's to say that it's going to work that fast? You never know in a flash flood situation. So when you're out bushcrafting, just keep that in mind. Don't be camping in a low-lying area where a whole bunch of water can come in quickly and flood you out. Not only would it be annoying, but it could be potentially dangerous. So just keep that in mind. And the last thing, about storms here in Kansas, or anywhere I should say, but especially here, is high winds. It's not really a storm as much as just annoying. The thing here is, like today I should be outside because there's no wind and it's beautiful. And that's a combination that you don't see too much here. Because if it's a nice, 70, 80 degree day and the sun's out, it's usually 30, 40 mile an hour winds, and it just kind of ruins it all. So think about your location of bushcrafting as, do I have adequate wind blockage, not only for just, keeping yourself out of the wind and not being just blown all around, but, think about your fire. We kind of had to think about that in our own shelter because we were going to put the fire pit in a certain area, but man, the wind was roaring through a certain spot to the side, and it's like, man, if the wind even blows through here, this thing's going to turn into just a flamethrower practically. So be sure to protect your fires. If you do have high winds, just dig your fire down deeper, protect it by the wind, build a windscreen, whatever you need to do. But anyway, so those are just the storm aspect things to think about spring bushcrafting. But along with that comes more opportunities for the bushcrafter. Fishing definitely gets better. Spring fishing is awesome. It really is. I don't see how you could go fishing and not catch something as long as you have some of the basic concepts down. Because, the fish are, spawning and stuff like that. So there's a lot of fish activity and stuff like that. Also, more tinder, things are growing, so there's more stuff to light on fire, basically, I should say. As well as shade, with leaves coming on the trees and the bushes and stuff. You'll have more opportunities to be in the shade and, just be more comfortable that way. As long as building materials. And the biggest thing is foraging foods. Everything's blooming. So now you got stuff to harvest for wild edibles. Everything from dandelions, you can fry those up, and cattails and all sorts of foraging foods. So if you've been kind of dormant, not really doing much bushcrafting in the winter, or you haven't had many opportunities to gather your own food while bushcrafting, now is the perfect time. So if you need to, just brush up on some wild edibles in your area. I'm sure you can get online and just type in your state, wild edibles or whatever like that, and there'll be some websites to help you out there. Make sure you identify your foods before you eat it, though. And you can also go into what some people do, grasshoppers and stuff like that, which I haven't done yet, but you never know. So anyways, all I gotta say is I'm really excited about the springtime for bushcrafting. I'm glad that things are warming up, and I'm really excited to be back on track with these podcasts, and I will be putting these out every single week now. You can hold me to that, as well as tons of videos. Now that it's nice outside, I'll be more apt to just bringing my recording equipment with me and shoot a lot of videos, fun ones, educational ones, how to build stuff, maybe even some mistake videos, who knows, all sorts of stuff. So the last thing I want to cover here before I go is I need your mail. So what I want to do, like I have planned out, is an episode in about 2 weeks all about you listeners. So here is what I want to know. I know I have quite a few listeners, and some of you have contacted me, and I appreciate that, but I know there's a lot out there that probably listen to this and say, oh, that was cool, or whatever. And then, I want you guys, everybody, if you're listening to this, that means you, I want you to do something for me. I want you to send me an email, and here's what I want to know. First thing, where do you bushcraft? Do you know your state, your location? Do you go to a local park? Do you go to a lake? Do you have some land? Do your buddy have a land? Whatever the information is, I just want to get kind of a consensus of where people go to bushcraft. What your challenges are, like what are the things that are hardest for you while bushcrafting, or things you need to work on. And also, what do you like best about bushcrafting? Is it just being outdoors? Is it building fires? Is it making cool structures? Or is it harvesting stuff? whatever it is. Another question is what your biggest accomplishment is for yourself. So maybe you have mastered, building a fire out of sticks, or a really cool shelter, or you've come up with a cool idea to trap game, or whatever. I just want to hear about it. Whatever this is, big or small, I want to hear it. We're all in different stages of our learning of bushcraft. We all need to learn more, but we all know a lot of stuff too. And we also know how it felt to start out. Our first fire using a fire steel, that was awesome. You got to remember how that felt. And I want to hear those stories. Or eating what you're caught or foraged for on the day. So anyways, if you could just please send your emails to idea@betterbushcraft.com today, please, while you're still thinking about it. And if you include a story, I'll also read that story in the next podcast. I'm sure there's some good ones out there. So, a story of your last trip, or the story of how you overcame something, whatever it is, please send those in. I'll be sure to read them in a future podcast here in a week or two, and it'll really help us just connect to each other and realize what everybody is doing and get some cool ideas. So I'd appreciate that. So that's basically it. Be on the lookout for tons of new videos and articles coming this month. I'll be shooting a lot of video now that I have the time to do so. So in the meantime, you can check out the website at betterbushcraft.com. My YouTube channel, Better Bushcraft. Twitter account is Tommy B. Clark. I need to go on there and actually do some stuff. I haven't done that in the last couple of weeks. So get on there and check it out. Send me a Twitter message. Say, hey, what's going on? I'll be sure to respond. And the last thing is email anything to idea@betterbushcraft.com. So thanks for listening, guys, and be sure to sign up for the newsletter. Send in your stories by email. Oh, and also remember the contest. You only got a few days to sign up for that. And until next week, you all take care and go do some bushcrafting. See ya.